Class, welcome to week 2. Hope all is going well. This is our week 2 lecture. You're hopefully starting to get the hang of things here. Again, each week I will put up something I just call sort of my weekly touch base, and that'll be a PowerPoint that sort of coordinates a little bit, and it'll cover any of the notes or lecture that I do, and then it's got some additional information. Again, as a reminder, sort of the key to it all, if you will, or sort of where the heart of the information is always on a sheet that looks like this. There's going to be a few different things on there for you to be mindful of just sort of work this week or thought or question for this week, maybe one or two, and then sort of a look ahead of just some things to kind of keep you sort of balanced in a one clean view, if you will. I won't do this every week, but I just want to kind of do some reminders on the weekly discussion, kind of baseline expectations. Like to be very straightforward on that. Again, every week there'll be a discussion post up for you. You can look at those early if you like. And the goal is to have the first one up by midnight on Wednesday of that week, and then have at least two more for minimum expectation by Sunday evening at midnight. Obviously, if you wait till Wednesday at midnight and Sunday at midnight to respond, it does impact your classmates' ability to do that. I understand we have folks who are working full-time and you have families, and I get that, but just do your best to do that. Again, in the middle of the week, sometimes late Wednesday or Thursday night, I will add what I call a midweek question. It's usually about something that's recently been in the news that has a little global flavor to it. And again, that's just an optional question. You don't have to answer that one, but it does count in your 3 count, if you will. So if that's something that is interesting to you, please take advantage of that midweek question. I've gotten feedback in the past that as the week goes on, they sort of beat a dead horse, if you will, and we're not able to sort of keep the energy going on a question. So I try to add a midweek question for you. And again, my feedback will always come early the next week with some comments and a grade for your assessment for what you do. One of the important things that we're talking about global communication, I think is important for you to be mindful of, is the role of reputation and risk management as you expand your portfolio, whether you're with an organization that's expanding or you join an organization that has a big footprint. Part of your wheelhouse and the strategic communication wheelhouse will be, how do I manage the reputation of my organization, and how do I sort of mitigate any risk management? There's starting to be a really nice growing body of literature and some support agencies around that. Before I get into some specifics, I want to sort of go backwards here. Your resource for the week, actually, and again, that's sort of the final piece of what's always there, is a place called the Reputation Institute. It's really a global thought leader and leading research on reputation. There's parts of it that are free, parts of it that are cost. And I have found it to be a valuable resource, and I hope you do too. So let's just start with the basics for just a minute. When we talk about reputation management, this is traditionally the definition that I like to use. I'm just going to read it here for just a minute. It says, reputation management is influencing and or control of an individual or business's reputation. I want to note the two parts to that, right? Both influencing and controlling, right? So I almost look at that as proactive and reactive. And that's part of your job. If you're not making deposits in both of those, you're probably don't really have a robust reputation risk management plan in place. And so that's part of your job, to be kind of always managing your organization up to the best of your ability, and realize there are sort of forces working against you, and how do I manage that, if you will. If you work for an organization or a leader that's about the bottom line, what's interesting is, according to World Economics, on average, more than 25% of a company's market value is directly attributable to his reputation. So I say, why would I talk about that? Why is that important? Why should I have a conversation with my boss about that? That's why, because this has a magnificent and significant impact on the bottom line of your organization. So I've worked in places, both profit and nonprofit, and that's a way to sort of get your leaders' attention. What I included in this week's focus is a survey that was done. It's a few years old now, but I think it's still really a value for you to read and take advantage of. So Deloitte Touche is a consulting group, and they have done a global survey. I think they're on a 5-year cycle here, so they're due for another one here in 2019. They did one back in 2014. It's really got some interesting information, even though it's a few years old. And they looked at 300 respondents in Asia, Europe, Pacific, and they talked to C-level executives, they talked to board members, they talked to risk executives. Those are senior-level risk executives. And they had to have at least $1 billion in revenue for them to talk to. And the report is pretty robust, which I'll include separate from this. But it had 7 key conclusions. I won't read them all to you, but I wanted to highlight 3 when we talk about reputation and risk management that I thought was important. One, what's really interesting is that their belief and the belief of the folks who took this survey is that reputation and risk management resides at the board level and the C-suite level. And so I share that with you for one critical reason. A lot of times when I talk with students in class and I talk to other people in the field, say, I want to be at the table, right? We're only reactionary. Well, this is a great way for you to bring forward a plan and an idea to get at the table with more senior leaders to sort of up your brand for your communication, if that's a need for you. So that's sort of point number one. Number two, reputation probably has the biggest impact on your brand and revenue, and your brand value and revenue. Meaning, again, I've worked in organizations where it's all about the dollar. It's all about the bottom line. Show me the ROI, show me the ROE, all of those things. And so when you can dollarize things like reputation risk management and show what the risks are, it's an opportunity for you to kind of manage your area up and tell them, hey, we have some ideas and thoughts and things. And that Reputation Institute site has some good templates and things for you to sort of look at as to how to do that. And then finally, companies are just investing more and more. So there is software you can use. There's clipping services you can use. Actually outsource. There's niche agencies that just focus on your reputation and your management of that. And so I would say there's more and more tools than you can ever believe out there to help you manage that, from everything from online reviews to everything else. So again, as you think about global communication, you think about the work we're going to do, one of the standard things, regardless of the geographical area that we focus on, we'll focus and concentrate on reputation and risk management. And I want to hit those both sides of the coin as I summarize that. You need to be doing things proactively for your organization, and you need to be having prepared to do things reactively, if you will, as you go forward. So I hope you find that helpful. I will look forward to seeing you next week, and all the best. Thanks.